Hello and welcome back to English Listening Lab. We are so glad you've decided to join us again today. Thank you for choosing to continue your language journey right here with us. Remember, listening to English is one of the most powerful tools you have. It trains your ear, improves your pronunciation, and helps you master complex grammar and new vocabulary naturally. Every minute you spend listening is a minute invested in your future English fluency. Keep up the fantastic work. Today, we are diving into a story that is part marketing genius, part culinary spectacle, and part global controversy. Get ready to discover the incredible, complicated life of the chef who broke the internet with a pinch of salt. Today's topic is the rise and fall of Salt Bae. Nusret Gökçe, the man the world knows as Salt Bae, was born in 1983 in a small, poor town in eastern Turkey. His family was very large, and money was always a big problem. His father worked as a coal miner, a difficult and dangerous job. Because of the family's financial situation, Nusret had to leave primary school. He was only 13 years old. He did not finish his education. This decision was difficult, but necessary. He had to find work to help his parents. Therefore, he moved to Istanbul and started his first serious job. He became an apprentice butcher. An apprentice is a young person who learns a trade from an expert. Nusret's job was often simple and hard. He cleaned the shop, washed the knives, and helped to prepare the simple cuts of meat. He spent many long hours in the butcher shop. He was working when other boys were playing football or doing homework. But Nusret did not complain. He developed a deep love and respect for the meat. He used to say that he felt a spiritual connection with the raw product. He watched the master butchers and practiced his knife skills constantly. He knew that his knife was his future. He continued to save his small earnings, always planning for a bigger future. He believed that if he worked harder than everyone else, he would succeed. His early life was defined by this singular focus on meat and ambition. Even though he was working hard, Nusret had a big dream. He wanted to own a chain of international luxury steakhouses. He understood that to open a world-class restaurant, he needed world-class knowledge. Therefore, in 2007, he saved all his money and decided to travel. This decision was a major turning point in his life, proving his willingness to take risks. His first important trip was to Argentina. Argentina is famous for its excellent beef and traditional grilling methods. Nusret spent time there. He did not work for money. He worked for free, just to learn. He watched and copied the asadors, or traditional grill masters. He learned how to choose the best cow, how to cut the perfect steak, and how to use fire. He studied the culture around meat, realizing that presentation and ritual were as important as the taste. After Argentina, he wanted to go to the United States, the land of opportunity and huge steakhouses. This was not easy. He applied for a visa 4 times, and the consulate rejected him 4 times. He had no property and little money, so they did not believe he would return to Turkey. Finally, he went to the consulate and showed them a folder full of newspaper articles. These articles were about his unique talent as a butcher. The officials were surprised and impressed. They gave him a short, 3-month tourist visa. In New York and Los Angeles, Nusret did the same thing. He visited the most famous steakhouses. He spent all his money on expensive steaks, not to eat them, but to study them. He observed the chefs, the service, and the atmosphere. He took many notes in his small notebook. This period was like his personal university. He returned to Turkey with a mind full of ideas and skills that no other Turkish butcher had. He was ready to combine Turkish hospitality with American steakhouse glamour. In 2010, Armed with his international experience, Nusret opened his first restaurant in Istanbul. He called it Nusret Steakhouse. The name is a combination of his name, Nusret, and the Turkish word for meat, et. The initial investment was very small, but his ambition was immense. He put all his savings into the business and worked 18 hours a day to make it successful. He was the head chef, the manager, and the entertainer all at once. His restaurant was different. Nusret used a dramatic, almost theatrical style when preparing the meat. He cut the steaks with incredible speed and precision right in front of the customers. His focus was on the experience, not just the food. People loved the show and shared videos on their early social media accounts. Soon, Nusret became the place to be for rich Turkish businessmen and celebrities. The restaurant was always full, and reservations were hard to get. Nusret did not stop there. He knew the Turkish market was too small for his dream. He wanted the world to see him. He started spending more and more time on social media, especially Instagram, which was becoming a global force. He posted videos every day, showing his confident style and his unique way of handling the meat. He was building his personal brand long before the famous Salt moment. His journey from a poor boy to a successful restaurant owner was complete, but the biggest change was yet to come. He was preparing for global domination. He was ready for the next level of fame, which would change his life forever. He had built a strong foundation on hard work, and the next step would rely on a single, viral gesture. The year 2017 was the year that the world stopped calling him Nusret and started calling him Salt Bae. In January of that year, he posted a short video on Instagram titled Ottoman Steak. The video showed him in his signature style, dark sunglasses, a tight white t-shirt, and his hair pulled back. The video was simple but incredibly powerful. It featured a close-up on the meat and his hands, minimizing distractions. In the clip, he was cutting a huge, bone-in steak that was sizzling on a cutting board. The way he handled the knife was fast and aggressive, but precise, demonstrating his butcher skills. The moment that changed everything came at the end. Instead of simply putting salt on the steak, he took a large pinch of coarse salt. He held his hand high above his head and flexed his arm. Then, he let the salt fall down his forearm and sprinkle onto the meat. This gesture was dramatic, elegant, and instantly recognizable. It turned a simple seasoning act into a performance art. The internet reacted immediately. The video went viral within days. People started calling him Salt Bae because of the way he treated the salt and the meat with such bae. The gesture became an instant meme. Millions of people shared it. They used the photo of the gesture to talk about everything: cooking, fashion, sports, and even politics. This single video transformed a successful Turkish restaurateur into a global celebrity, catapulting his brand far beyond the food industry itself. He had mastered the language of the internet: quick, visual, and highly repeatable. The Salt Bae meme was the best free marketing a businessman could ever dream of. Nusret used the fame brilliantly. His social media presence exploded. He gained millions of followers in weeks. He started appearing on major American and European TV shows, which increased his visibility. His restaurants became a pilgrimage site for the rich and famous. Hollywood stars, famous footballers, and world leaders have flown to his steakhouses just to experience the Salt Bae show. Leonardo DiCaprio, David Beckham, Bruno Mars, and many others have posed for photos with him, further solidifying his status. The photo of Salt Bae serving a steak to a celebrity became a status symbol. If you were important, you had to have a picture with the man himself. He managed to sell not just food, but a piece of celebrity culture. This fame translated directly into business expansion. He started opening new restaurants at an incredible pace. London, New York, Miami, Dubai, and Mykonos received the Nusret treatment. These restaurants were not just places to eat. They were luxury theaters where the price tag was part of the spectacle. The menu was extremely expensive, with simple items like a soft drink costing more than a main course in a normal restaurant. The most controversial item was the golden steak, a cut of beef that was wrapped in edible 24-karat gold leaf. It could cost over $1,000. For Nusret, this was not about food. It was about creating an exclusive, unforgettable experience for those who had the money. The price became part of the marketing, making the experience feel even more exclusive. Nusret has always maintained a mysterious persona. He is rarely seen without his signature dark sunglasses. This simple accessory added to his enigma and helped define the brand. He often wears tight, simple clothes that highlight his muscular physique, which he carefully maintains. He has created the image of a strong, silent, artistic meat handler. This image was carefully curated to appeal to global audiences. Despite his massive wealth, he has often emphasized his humble background, reminding the public of his poor start. He has used his life story to inspire others, showing that hard work and a unique idea can lead to immense success. He has never claimed to be the best chef in the world, but he is arguably the best performer chef. He has transformed the simple act of salting meat into an international brand, proving that image often beats substance in the modern economy. However, as his fame has grown, so has the speculation about his true character and the quality of his food. Critics have started to look beyond the sunglasses and the gold steaks. The question is no longer if he is famous, but how long his fame will last when the show is repeated every day. The golden age of uncritical adoration was ending, and the time for serious criticism was beginning. His journey was moving from a viral sensation to a controversial figure. The empire he had built on salt and social media was about to face its first major storms, which would test the loyalty of his customer base and the resilience of his brand. The initial excitement surrounding Salt Bae did not last forever. Once the novelty had faded, many people started to look closely at the food itself. This was when the serious criticism began. Many respected food critics have published harsh reviews of the Nusret restaurants, especially in cities like New York and London. These reviews were often shared widely online, affecting public opinion. The main complaint has always been the same. The extreme prices do not match the quality of the cooking. Critics have described the steaks as average, overcooked, or not worth the cost of a car payment. One famous critic wrote that the $130 steak tasted like shoe leather, suggesting a clear failure to meet the culinary standards expected at that price point. Customers were paying hundreds or even thousands of dollars, not for the culinary skill, but for the chance to take a photo and say they had been there. The food was often called overrated theater or a triumph of hype over substance. The public perception was shifting. People were starting to see Nusret as a successful businessman and marketer, but not as a great chef. The perception was that the high prices were only charged because of his celebrity status, not because the food was outstanding. If the celebrity factor disappeared, many believed the restaurants would fail. This criticism has created a large gap between his Instagram fame and his professional credibility, forcing customers to question their extravagant spending. The novelty had worn off, and the real value was being scrutinized. The negative reviews were not the only problem. In the last few years, Salt Bae's company has faced several serious lawsuits from former employees. These lawsuits have included a variety of accusations, casting a shadow over the dream image. Some workers have accused him of stealing tips, claiming that the money was unfairly distributed among the staff. They argued that the high tips from rich clients were kept by management instead of going to the serving team. Other employees have claimed that the working conditions were extremely poor, with very long hours and aggressive management, contrary to labor laws. One particularly notable incident involved a former sommelier who was fired after questioning the tip distribution. He filed a lawsuit, and the details were widely reported in the press. Another case was filed by kitchen staff who claimed they were forced to work overtime without proper payment, leading to a difficult and stressful environment. Because of these legal battles, his company has been ordered to pay large settlements and fines. These events have painted a less glamorous picture of the celebrity chef, showing a difficult boss who was focused more on profit than on his staff's well-being. Furthermore, some of his restaurants have faced problems with health and safety regulations. The Boston restaurant was closed temporarily by the city for several violations shortly after opening. These problems have further damaged the image of a luxury brand, suggesting a lack of fundamental care in the operation. The most public relations disaster occurred in December 2022 at the FIFA World Cup final in Qatar. After Argentina won the trophy, Salt Bae somehow gained unauthorized access to the pitch. He was seen harassing the triumphant players, trying to take selfies with Lionel Messi, who looked visibly annoyed and tried to move away. Most importantly, he touched and held the official World Cup trophy, an action that is strictly prohibited by FIFA rules. Only a very small group of people, including the winning players and heads of state, are allowed to touch the cup. His behavior was criticized globally as arrogant, inappropriate, and disrespectful to the sport's traditions. FIFA launched an official investigation into the matter, stating that the man should not have been on the pitch. This moment was captured by thousands of cameras and shared millions of times. Only this time the reaction was anger, not adoration. If he had stayed off the field, the scandal would never have happened. If he had respected the rules, his image would not have suffered such a severe blow. Today, Salt Bae is still a wealthy and highly successful global brand. His restaurants continue to attract customers who want the unique experience, despite the criticism. However, the narrative has definitely changed. He is no longer the simple, lovable meme. He is a complex figure of ambition, controversy, and excess. His story remains a perfect study in modern fame. How the internet can create an instant billionaire, and how quickly public opinion can turn against the star. The legacy of Salt Bae is not just about the steak, but about the price of performance and the fleeting nature of internet celebrity. And that brings us to the end of Salt Bae's fascinating and controversial journey. You, our listeners, are fantastic. You have successfully processed a very long and detailed story, full of complex vocabulary and grammar structures. By staying engaged with this material, you have just taken another significant step toward mastering English fluency. Every time you listen and understand a story like this, your skills grow stronger. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed the story, and hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss our next English listening adventure. We'll see you next time.